Hey, it's Sarah and welcome to the energy forecast for October 2020. I've got a couple of different themes for the month of October, and some of those are, well, overall is more big shifts are happening, but 2020, we kind of know that by now. There's also themes of veils and falsehoods. And unearthing buried stuff as well, heightened emotions and a sense of struggle. So I'm going to elaborate about all those points in the rest of this video. So firstly, I need to apologise for the state of my voice in this video. I am full of cold at the moment, as you could probably tell by my lovely Rudolph red nose. So October, I feel like in September, and I talked about that in my last monthly forecast, that the pace started to pick up a little bit with some things, more kind of taking action and being able to take action as well. And I think that's still continuing on, but maybe in September there was more of a kind of open road, to really get going on, and less stuff blocks coming up in the way, whereas in October I think there are a few more things that may be testing us. If you're into astrology, the first week, this week that I'm releasing this video, which includes the first couple of days of October, is quite strong, big week astrologically. So I feel like that kind of sets the tone for October, if you will. It's just a time where we've really, again, got to be mindful of our thoughts and emotions towards things, because it can, on the outset, feel like a time of, terrifyingly, oh God, what's going to happen next? But it doesn't have to play out like that. So I think there are going to be more big shifts this month, probably personally and globally as well. And it's definitely a time now, especially as we're moving into autumn, winter time in the northern hemisphere, and we naturally get a little bit more introspective anyway. But it's a time more of heightened emotions at the moment. So if you're sensitive, especially, be aware of your emotions this month, and be aware of the fact they may cause miscommunication and problems with other people. And you may find yourself reacting very quickly to things, and it's difficult to maybe not take action instantly, when we have those instant knee-jerk reactions to things, because it stirs a really strong emotion. That kind of ties into one of the other themes that I got for this month, which was unearthing buried stuff. So I think this month, a lot of the heightened emotions mixed with this old baggage, old repressed things, blocked things, everything bubbling up to the surface. A lot of these things are coming up and kind of pressing our buttons, if you will. So, things that may have triggered us either, a long time, constantly throughout our adult life, or it could be something that you've maybe repressed or buried that used to trigger you in the past, that you haven't had a problem with for years and suddenly come back to kind of bite you in the arse. But those sort of long-held things are really gonna trigger those knee-jerk emotional reactions this month. And in terms of unearthing buried stuff, I think a lot of us are going to be dealing with a lot of stuff from the past coming up. So not necessarily stuff you would expect coming up, but things that maybe you thought you had already dealt with, and maybe that you thought that you'd healed. But there may be some aspect of that coming back up again, just to say, hey, you've not fully finished this learning lesson here with this. And again, with all these shifts and sensitivity that we're experiencing at the moment, sometimes it can be a good idea to gently dig down past the surface, just to find out more about you and your beliefs, and what your core beliefs are, what sort of things you have, like values and principles you've held in your life, and are they needing to be looked at and maybe changed in some way or revised? Are they still holding true to you? Are they still serving you as beliefs in your life going forwards? The next theme I got was the concept of veils or falsehoods. I just feel like veils in terms of a lot of things globally again and personally at the moment. I don't think we're seeing the full picture, and that can obviously impact us in making decisions, again in what our beliefs are, and again how we are feeling about something. So be aware in terms of all those things this month that you may not be getting the full picture about something. Basically, there is a lot of misinformation about at the moment, a hell of a lot of misinformation, and not getting the full picture. So again, those of you who are sensitive and feeling heightened emotions this month, heightened emotions isn't always a bad thing. It can also be a good thing. It can also mean that you are more intuitive, more in touch with your inner bullshit radar this month, and you can maybe be a bit more discerning about the information you're getting, the picture of a situation that you're getting. Where might there be somewhere where you're not quite seeing the whole truth of the situation, or where might there be somewhere where you can look at some information and say, I don't feel that that's right. So use intuition and discernment wisely this month. So finally, something else that is going to come up in October for a lot of us is this sense of struggle, purely because again of all the shifts that are going on. It can feel like we're wading through mud at the moment. We're not making much progress. Although the roads kind of opened up and things may be happening, it can feel like they are. But what is the price that we're paying to make those things happen? Is there an element of struggle and sacrifice to what you're doing? So that's something to be mindful of. I don't think necessarily, you've got to weigh up whether the struggle's worth it really. If it is a struggle for you, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not the right way and you should stop what you're doing. But you've got to be, again, discernment is really important, and kind of working out, some things are worth getting uncomfortable for, getting out of your comfort zone, and really working through, and you look back on them and you think, that was a really hard time in my life, that was really a time where I struggled. But then those sort of things can bring you to the places you want to go or the places you need to be. So firstly, it's using that discernment to find out if you are feeling like it's a struggle, is it worth that? Is what you're trying to achieve worth that struggle? Or do you feel that now it's become too much of a struggle and maybe you should point in another direction? And then of course, if something is worth a struggle, maybe looking at our mindset around the concept of struggling in the first place, and whether we can change our thoughts and change our mindset around that to a more positive one that can help us get through this time of uncertainty and difficulty, and ultimately move us closer towards where we want to be. So ultimately, I think we are still moving forward this month, but it may not feel as much in ease and in flow and naturally coming as it was sort of more September time. We're still moving forwards, but there is some stuff to be worked through and some things to be looked at. So that's it for this month. If you want to get my monthly energy forecasts, you can do so by subscribing to my channel. And if you're on your motherhood journey as well, then please do follow me on Instagram. Otherwise, I'll see you next time for the next monthly energy forecast.